Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguele. Let's notify you that this news has been broadcast live on our website is nta.ng/live and all other of our social media handles displayed on the screen right now. As the nation continues to engage in kinetic and non-kinetic methods of tackling insecurity, challenging the peace and progress of Nigeria and its citizens, the Minister of Defense, General Bashir Magashi, says regular surrender of weapons by terrorists and their families to the authorities has been a motivating factor for military troops on the front line of the war against insurgency. Speaking at a media briefing in Abuja on the successes recorded so far in the fight against insecurity, he also ties the success to the credible intelligence being provided by the public to security agencies.
Both theaters of operation in recent times has been very noteworthy. Of course, all this is in furtherance to our constitutional imperatives to enthrone peace, security all over the country.
He must have heard about the number of terrorists neutralized by the military and number of hostages freed. These efforts will not stop.
Going forward, the ongoing onslaught against terrorism, banditry and thuggery will be sustained by the security agencies, especially in the build-up to the 2023 general elections.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable, in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities.
There are a total of 75,061 inmates, including 1,271 military detainees in all the nation's custodial centers. 3,150 are on death rows, awaiting execution, because state governments have not assented to their execution warrants.
Meanwhile, at least 40 officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force are facing disciplinary proceedings for violating the code of conduct of the force. The Department of State Services is collaborating with relevant stakeholders to address the issue of terrorism financing in the country. Francis Pham reports that a two-day workshop is holding in Abuja.
Law enforcement agents and judicial officers gathered here to find a solution to stem terrorism financing. DSS is the chief at its headquarters, Abuja.
Terrorism financing can be said to defy borders, nationalities, or even religion. Some people that don't even share the faith, particularly of Boko Haram, or even their ideology, will participate in terrorism financing.
We must never lose sight of the complementary role each agency plays towards successful conviction of perpetrators of these crimes and their sponsors in line with the Financial Action Task Force objectives.
Disconnecting the web of terrorism financiers and the terrorists is the task before these security experts. Director General of the DSS, represented, notes that the ever-changing nature and sophistication of the threats makes it imperative for security experts to be critical thinkers in order to fashion out a better and efficient ways to tackle the threats.
Nigeria, as a committed stakeholder, needs to contribute to this quota in protecting the integrity and stability of the international financial system by terminating the resources available to terrorists, as well as making it difficult for those engaged in crime not to profit from their criminal activities.
The expectations at this two-day workshop is for an improved interagency collaboration aimed at detecting and preventing the abuse of financial system by terrorists and other criminal networks. Francis from NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has upskilled its research capacity to effectively tackle the nation's evolving security challenges. This is the focus of a seminar organized by the Training and Doctrine Command of the Nigerian Army for officers.
To cope with the challenges, development in the field of training and doctrine is a must, which is best through research. Research and development activities create or help to evolve existing operational techniques and logistic procedures, equipment modification, training curricula, methodologies and techniques, and others.
I also hope that the constructive engagements here will lead to actionable recommendations which will appropriately prepare and reposition the Nigerian Army to address contemporary issues in terms of research and development, and of course, curriculum harmonization.
The training is aimed at building on the gains recorded in the first edition of the seminar last year in Minna, Niger State. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has assured that there is no threat to the 2023 general elections in the country. The IGP gave the assurance during the United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit holding in the United States of America and during his meeting with the Assistant Secretary, Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, U.S., Todd Robinson. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says this stems from the robust security threat analysis carried out using global best standards to ascertain the trend of expectations for the electioneering processes. The statement further says discussions were centered around enhancing support for the police force training and capacity building programs, particularly in the tactical units deployed in the northeast and other conflict areas across the country. Let's take you to Kenya, where we hear Kenya's Supreme Court has unanimously validated the disputed presidential election results held last August, in which Vice President William Ruto was declared winner with 50.5% of votes. Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, delivered the verdict Monday afternoon and dismissed many of the petitions alleging fraud in the technology used in the electoral process, while recognizing what it called a serious malaise in governance of the Electoral Commission. However, the judge said the court concluded that the last-minute electoral rupture is insufficient to invalidate or annul the vote. Judges also found no credible evidence that there was any tampering with the uploading of Forms 34A to the public portal, and no evidence of unexplained discrepancies between votes cast in various elective positions across the country and those cast in favor of the president-elect. The lawsuit had sought to overturn the results of the presidential election and has left the East African nation in political limbo. Opposition leader Raila Odinga, who failed to secure the presidency on his fifth attempt, along with 6 other parties, petitioned the court to nullify Vice President William Ruto's win. They alleged massive irregularities that comprised the fairness of the August 9 vote. The official results showed Ruto secured 50.5% support and the veteran opposition figure Raila Odinga 48.8%. Still on the judiciary, but back home, legal research and legal writing are twin judicial tools being deployed in aid of speedy dispensation of justice in Nigeria. Now, due to the importance of these tools, legal research assistants and registrars of various levels of courts from across the country converged on Abuja to learn new trends in this act. Judiciary correspondent Delia Tumbi reports.
Legal research, no doubt, is of immense benefit to legal profession, be it on the bench or at the bar. It is in the light of this that registrars and legal research assistants must continuously sharpen their research and writing skills to enhance their productivity and develop. To ensure speedy dispensation of justice in various courts, registrars and legal research assistants must be exposed to current trends in court administration and legal research as it obtains in other jurisdictions. The development has made the national advocacy on promoting speedy administration of justice through effective legal research instructive. Participants have been exposed to the use of information and communication technology as veritable tool for legal research.
Let me urge you all to approach your duties with utmost dedication and diligence, as this is pertinent for speedy dispensation of justice, as the saying has always been, justice delayed is justice denied. I therefore enjoin you to work closely with the judicial officers with zeal and commitment to enable the judiciary attain its mandate of justice for all.
With the deployment of information and communication technology in the justice system, the cases in the dockets of various courts will be reduced in due course. The development participants are of the view will also save time of litigants, the courts, and the council. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The federal government has settled the long-standing contractual dispute with a foreign investor group in the steel space from $5.2 billion to $496 million. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN, disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja. Malami explained that the mediation proceedings was under the International Chamber of Commerce Alternative Dispute Resolution Framework led by Philip Howell Richardson. The Justice Minister said the settlement agreement came into effect on 19th August 2022. Nigeria succeeded in reducing the claim in mediation brought by the international firm of King and Spedlin, legal representatives of the global group, by 91%. The claim for over $10 billion was brought before the International Chamber of Commerce, International Court of Arbitration, Paris, in respect of 5 major contracts awarded between 2004 and 2007, covering steel, iron ore, and rail. Malami therefore reiterated the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and standing firm to continue to make assiduous efforts in protecting the public interest and ensuring that Nigeria is not stripped of its resources through whatever means. Federal government is set to disburse the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund to enable indigenous shipping operators to compete favorably with their international counterparts. Minister of Transportation Muazu Jaji Sambo, who made this known while inaugurating patrol and passengers boats at the National Inland Waterways Authority area office in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. He said the fund will be disbursed before the end of this year. Oina Kaloka reports.
The 2 patrol boats are PB Gusau and PB Jalingo, with 32-seater passenger ferry boats inaugurated by the Minister of Transportation. These have added to the number of 20 patrol boats and water ambulances already distributed to newer area offices across the country to enhance operational efficiency.
The vision of the authority is therefore to make Nigeria a leader in inland waterway transportation, development and management, not only in Nigeria but in Africa. Hence the need to ensure the development of infrastructural facilities for a national inland waterways network that will connect the creeks and the rivers with the economic centers, using the river ports as nodal points for intermodal.
Minister of Transportation Muazu Jaji Sambo described inland waterways transportation as the cheapest and safest means of moving goods and persons, pledging to support NIWA in achieving its goals. The minister stated that federal government is committed to supporting indigenous shipping operators by disbursing the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund this year.
It is indeed a low-hanging fruit. I will do everything within my powers to make sure that that fund is disbursed to Nigerians as quickly as possible, so that Nigerian ship owners can increase capacity.
The Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund is an intervention fund created by the federal government towards the development of indigenous shipping capacity in Nigeria. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has issued an alert that 22 states are prone to flood this month as a result of torrential rains expected in the country. Let's find out which states will be affected from Musa Aliyu.
The pattern of rainy season this year is accompanied with heavy, long duration and high amount of water in all parts of the country. Data released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency indicates that high amount of rain was recorded in the month of July and August. For instance, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna, Jigawa, Bauchi, Kano, Borno, Gombe and Nasarawa states recorded over 300 millimeters of rain. The developments saturated the state of the soil moisture across the country, triggering flooding in most parts of the country.
Because the soil moisture condition is a factor that influences either dryness or wetness, and dryness which could lead to drought, or wetness which could lead to, if there is over wetness, which could lead to floods.
The rain pattern in the month of September might not be different from that of August, going by NIMET prediction. States that are prone to high risk of flooding this month are Kebbi and Jigawa in the northwest, Borno, Bauchi and Taraba in the northeast, Plateau in the north-central, and Bayelsa in the south-south. Other states listed that may experience flash flood including Kano, Adamawa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Abia, Imo, Enugu, Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Ondo, Oyo, and Ekiti.
We advise especially state governments to emphasize on sensitization campaigns on people living on flood-prone areas such as river valleys and people living close to drainages.
State Emergency Management Agency are therefore advised to intensify adaptive, mitigative, and response mechanisms to avert loss of lives and property. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, in view of the continuous devastation of flooding across the country, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has commissioned search and rescue vehicles and equipment for effective management of the menace. Director of Special Duty of the agency, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, says all the equipment will be deployed immediately to affected communities. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
32 out of the 36 states of the Federation, with 233 local government areas, have been identified as states with probable high-risk areas of flooding. This is in view of the 2022 predictions of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA. Already, more than 20 states have been severely affected by the floods, with many casualties. Jigawa State recorded the highest number of deaths and still counting. Based on this scenario, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has commenced the deployment of these search and rescue equipment to arrest further devastation caused by the flood.
To the glory of God, I, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, Director General NEMA, unveil this equipment. Round of applause.
The NEMA boss said with the asset being inducted and deployed, it will no doubt enhance the safety and security of NEMA staff and place them in a better position to save lives, restore normalcy, and improve national resilience.
These vehicles, this equipment to be deployed across the country. As we are all aware, disaster has hit many communities. And these equipments cannot be kept here. We have to deploy them to communities outside.
Among the equipment deployed were 3 mobile intensive care units, 3 incident response vehicles, as well as motorized and inflatable boats, among other equipment. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Victims of the petrol tanker explosion at Matogun area in Ifo local government in Ogun State on Saturday, September 3rd, 2022, are still counting their losses as Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun promised to intensify efforts at completing the recently approved reconstruction of Ijoko Alagbole Lambe Akute Bega Road to forestall reoccurrence. Lekon Agbode reports.
Witness account says the driver of the petrol tanker loaded with 45,000 liters of premium motor spirits, also known as petrol, lost the control of the tanker while plying the bad road and subsequently fell and spilled its content on the road, which later caught fire. No fewer than 10 houses, including some churches, were burned down by the inferno.
I just saw the smoke that came. All of a sudden, the fire entered. Burnt all the property and everything.
What we need now is the help of the government to help us and do this road, Matogun, Lambe, Okiaro, and so forth.
Sympathizing with the victims, a delegation of Ogun State government, led by the State Deputy Governor Noemo Salako Yedele, says government will ensure that the reconstruction of the Joko Alagbole Lambe Akute Bega Road completes in good time to forestall recurrence.
The contracts start from Songo, through Ijoko, all the way here to Bega. So I can assure you that very soon you will see the contractors on site.
The delegation also assured the victims of government support to cushion the effects of the unpleasant incident. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbode, NTA News.
Well, still on a sad note, we're heading to Lagos, where Michael will be giving us update on the building collapse we hear happened yesterday. And unfortunately, one more dead body was discovered. Michael.
Thank you, Ruth. Search and rescue team of the National Emergency Management Agency and officials of Lagos State Building Control Agency have recovered 2 more bodies from the 7-story building collapse at Oniru Estate in Lagos, totaling 4 bodies so far brought out from the rubble. As the recovery process continues, safety officials are intensifying efforts to arrive at ground zero level. Abolade Salami reports.
The 7-story building that caved in Sunday morning is receiving needed attention from the Lagos State government, building experts, and the nation's engineering professional body to ascertain cause of the collapse. Although safety officials are still carrying out rescue operations to recover more bodies trapped under the rubble, Lagos State government says from available information, the building was sealed in February of this year due to reports on the integrity of the structure. But the contractor ignored the warnings and continued work until the unfortunate incidents happened.
We have neighbors here who give us information, so we ask them to actually write to the state. So we have different information, and then we will, of course, process the information and see what we can do to make sure that whoever did this, if a law has been broken, then we will see how we prosecute that.
So the search and rescue is still continuing until we are convinced, possibly, for the recovery of or rescue of the remaining 3 people that are said to be trapped.
While the issue of building collapse has suddenly resurfaced in Lagos State, building experts are suggesting the need for regulatory authorities to carry out regular supervisions and enforcement of standards.
From my experience, I feel at every stage of work, Lagos State is meant to issue out a stage certification in which I don't know if they properly carried out the exercise or not.
The quality of materials that can be used in construction is very important, like the reinforcement irons and the ratio of concrete and the sand ratio. At least they should look into it.
In the meantime, the area has been cordoned off to allow for thorough investigations and evacuation of the rubble to a dump site. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
With more than 4,000 cases of domestic violence, including rape and sexual assaults, reported in the state in the last 10 months, Lagos State government is set to strengthen legislation to create strong deterrents as well as curb the menace across the metropolis. Commissioner for Justice Moyosori Onigbajo disclosed this at a media interactive forum commemorating Domestic and Sexual Violence Month in Lagos. Musa Toliat has the report.
The breakdown of statistics provided by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice include cases of domestic violence, rape, sexual assault, rape attempt, sexual assault by penetration, and threat to life. These cases also include child molestation, defilement, assault, and child labor.
One of the agency's main responsibilities is to provide immediate and quick response to SGBV cases by providing support, counseling, empowerment, shelter, mediation, and other referrals and services to survivors.
Onigbanjo stressed that the state government, during the period under review, provided free legal representation to 110 survivors of domestic violence through the Office of the Public Defender and the Lagos Public Interest Law Partnership.
It's on us. This is based on the compelling need to ensure that residents of Lagos realize that ending the menace of sexual, gender-based violence is indeed a collective effort which requires the support and collaboration of all members of society.
He said the month of September is designated as Domestic and Sexual Violence Awareness Month to draw attention of residents to the scourge of domestic violence and avail them information on how to access the various government interventions when there is an incident of the menace in any part of the state. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your
Make another stop, and this time Sokoto, as we join Nana.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sokoto. Thanks, Ruth. Not fewer than 300 patients have benefited from the free medical outreach courtesy of Islamic Medical Association of Nigeria, Usman Danfodio University Sokoto, and Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital chapter. The exercise was conducted at Wiwa Low Cost Clinic, Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Detti completes the story.
These are benefiting patients graciously thanking Iman for the gesture. People suffering from different ailments were attended to and given drugs free of charge. Patients with surgical cases were referred to Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital for treatment.
I brought my baby here to see a doctor because she's sick. She has been given treatment. So all the drugs are here with me.
Dr. Abakar Sadiq Muhammad said the outreach is carried out in 2 weeks interval and in 2 clinics of Wiwa Locust and Ngagi. Patients with hypertension and diabetes were attended to in Ngagi and given drugs.
Many patients with hypertension, ulcer, arthritis, children with respiratory tract infection, and even some surgical conditions. When we see there, we report to ourselves. Either we held them in our government hospital or also we do them in our Iman hospital.
Kabir Muhammad, the state chairman of the association, said the gesture is part of their corporate social responsibility. Dr. Kabir noted that the association sources funds from the monthly stipends being collected from members calling on well-to-do to help the needy and less privileged members of the society.
So all these things is with the help of this organization and with the help of also our members, which are professionals from different cadres of the profession. We have the medical doctors, we have the medical lab scientists, we have the nurses, we have the pharmacists, and we have all sorts of cadres.
The outreach is expected to continue in 2 weeks' time at Gagi Clinic in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
About 10,000 patients suffering from various eye problems are to benefit from the free medical outreach embarked upon by the Zamfara state government. At least 800 patients have been drawn from each of the 14 local government areas of the state to access the free eye care services. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The free eye treatment sponsored by Zamfara state government is part of Governor Bello Muhammad administration's initiative of bringing essential healthcare services to the doorsteps of the common man. No fewer than 10,000 patients suffering from various eye problems, mostly the aged, are to benefit from the program. The initiative began with Zamfara Central Senatorial District, where more than 3,500 patients are expected to be attended to. They are mostly those suffering from glaucoma, retina, cataract, and squint, who will be provided with drugs and foldable lens after the operation.
And there is another thing that we are seeing, there is short sight and long sight. Those cannot read, and those having a short sight problem. Inshallah, we are here and we bring so many glasses, more than 3,000 glasses. And now the treatment is going on.
The Moro local government sole administrator and Algon chairman of the state chapter, Alhaji Salisu Isa Dangulbi, who inspected the conduct of the exercise at King Fahad Ibn Abdul Aziz Women and Children Hospital Gusau on behalf of Governor Bello Muhammad, maintained that it has brought relief to the common man who could not afford such essential services at the hospitals. He charged the beneficiaries to pray for divine intervention to overcome the prevailing security challenges in Zamfara state and the country as a whole. Some of the patients who were operated upon thanked Zamfara state government for the wonderful intervention. The exercise is built to be extended to other 2 senatorial districts of Zamfara state. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
All those are the stories from Sokoto. Nationwide continues with you, Ruth, in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. The federal government has suspended its proposed excise duty for the digital economy sector. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, says this will save the sector that is already paying 41 categories of excessive and multiple taxes from being overburdened and prevent increase on call and data tariffs. Rather, a presidential committee on review of excise duty for the digital economy has been inaugurated to study challenges in the sector and propose a way forward. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy is the chairman, while Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Executive Vice Chairman NCC, Chairman Federal Inland Revenue Service, and representatives of mobile and broadband network operators make up membership of the committee. Let's turn to agric. The United States of America has relaxed the ban on some Nigerian agricultural produce from entry into the country. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development announced this in Abuja while receiving a report on the European Union ban on beans. Musa Aliyu will tell us about it.
The European Union has since 2015 banned Nigerian beans into the market of any of its member nations. The ban was as a result of high residues of pesticides considered harmful to health in the beans exported to Europe. The Federal Minister of Agriculture said the exporter did not avail the beans for scrutiny before exporting it to Europe. Yam from Nigeria was also rejected in the United Kingdom and United States a few years ago due to issues relating to packaging.
Before the ban, several unheeded notifications were sent to Nigeria authorities. To lift the ban, EU wants Nigeria to control her export and provide substantial evidence that the necessary food safety requirements and protocols are put in place.
The development has become a major concern to government, with the country being the world's largest producer of yam and beans. To this end, the Federal Minister of Agriculture set up a committee to review and suggest ways Nigerian agricultural produce will be acceptable in the global market. The report was presented to the Minister of Agriculture.
We've been able to carry out the traceability system, design it, come up with the NEPAF, the portal. We've also come up with a trader scheme to encourage the onboarding of people to participate and offtake the new process and protocols.
If our regulators and the private certification or inspection bodies operating in Nigeria are all accredited to the scopes we need them to be able to carry out the export control, then we have no reason to worry again about rejection of beans.
Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar said government is committed to Agro Zero Project initiative, stating that it would ensure best practices in food handling chain, robust linkage among stakeholders, and drive export in the agricultural sector.
I met with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and we discussed in their own case some of the bans. We were able to resolve some of them, and they have even issued letters to the ministry for some of the bans have been lifted because we were able to reach that kind of understanding.
The team recommended a synergy between Ministry of Agriculture, NAFDAC's Standard Organization of Nigeria, and Nigeria Customs Service in the area of quality control and certification of produce before export. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's turn to other issues. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, has reminded public servants of their mandate to deliver services with utmost diligence. The SGF stated this in a message at the presentation of report on the deployment of self-assessment tool by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, in Abuja.
The development challenges faced by Nigeria can all be largely attributed to weak performance of the public service. Achievements thus far have not been deep enough to turn the public service into a well-performing institution.
NEMSA is highly relevant in the matters of reform. In today's fast-increasing competitive world, NEMSA's effectiveness and efficiency is a focus of consideration, a call for attention, and the outcome of the assessment is significant in the trajectory of government efforts to transform power.
It is my hope that the report for the deployment of the self-assessment exercise will serve as a reference document for the agency to perform better and improve what was shortcomings, which is due to achieving greater results and accomplishment for visual, mission, and management of NEMSA.
Kogi State government has been commended for positive and innovative changes in the education sector. Minister of State Education, Goodluck Nana Opia, stated this while he led a team on a visit to Governor Yaya Bello at the Government House in Lokoja. Solomon Ayedei reports.
Government is doing everything possible to resolve the ASU strike. I'm also sure that the lecturers themselves will be glad to go back to their work as quickly as possible.
The minister and his team were at the Government House in Lokoja to intimate Governor Yahya Bello of their mission in the state. He described as impressive the achievements of the new direction administration, particularly the area of infrastructure development. The Minister of Education State, Goodluck Opia, commended the efforts of Kogi State government towards improving the standard of education. He gave an assurance of the ministry's readiness to collaborate with the state in this regard. Governor Bello, in his response, explained that his administration has made notable impact in uplifting the education sector from basic primary to higher institutions. He further explained that the establishment of the Confluence University of Science and Technology, or SARA, was targeted at bridging the study gap in science.
We wouldn't want this, our party, or Mr. President, or this administration to be associated with failure in terms of education. And that is why every part of our manifesto as a party and our principle, I try to imbibe it here in Kogi State, and it's working like magic.
He assured the minister and his team of safety while in the state. Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
The new Nigeria People's Party presidential candidate Alhaji Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso has appealed to the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities to resolve the lingering strike action in the interest of the nation. He stated this while interacting with the media in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital. Once more, let's hear from Solomon Ayedei.
The NPP presidential candidate Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso lamented the lingering ASU strike in view of its effect on Nigeria's university education system, with students worst hit. The disruption of academic activities, he emphasized, could aggravate issues of youth restiveness, insecurity, and crime in the polity.
It's an opportunity for me to appeal to the federal government and the ASU on the other hand to come back as quickly as possible to negotiating table so that our children can go back to the universities. It doesn't help anybody.
He has since left the state. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
We'll take a trip now to Ibadan to join Larry with the next set of reports. Larry.
Good to see you, Ruth, and welcome to Ibadan. As the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU strike lingers, some students are engaging in certain skills acquisition with a view to empower as well as equip themselves for productivity. Kende Omolosho brings the details.
While the Academic Staff Union of University strike is still ongoing, some students have decided to use the opportunity to improve their skills with a view to be more resourceful. For Praise Oyeyemi, a student of Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, he had chosen fashion designing as a side hustle. Now that the strike is full scale, Praise is utilizing it to develop himself in the art of sewing.
I've been able to gain some things. At least I can sew trousers on my own, cut certain things, and with supervision I can still do better.
Salamat Abdulhamid is also taking advantage of the strike to become a fashion brand to be globally reckoned with.
Since they've been on strike for like almost 6 months now, we've been doing well here and it's been okay.
I've been busy with that, at least learning new things, getting to learn how to write write scripts, new scripts, learn to voice and all, because I'm in a broadcast station.
Since the strike, we've been here working.
For the likes of Praise, the strike is a blessing in disguise, as they have equipped themselves with skills that can bring food on their tables while they further their studies. Kende Omolosho, NTA News.
The need for women to be self-reliant towards emancipation and contribute meaningfully to national development was again brought to the fore as grassroots women dwellers of Nigeria, Agwan, Southwest Zone converged on Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Omokende Igbari reports that the wife of Oyo State Governor Tamuno Minini Makinde charged the women to rise up to the challenge of nation building. Our report is here presented.
Selected grassroots women dwellers from states in the southwest in their snow white and green attires depicting the agricultural nature of the nation. Wife of the Oyo State Governor Tamuno Minini Makinde charged the women to vie for more elective positions to impact positively on governance. She expressed the readiness of the Oyo State government to make life more meaningful for women, especially rural dwellers.
Women are the backbone of many generations, and so we are saying that our women should be happier.
President of the group, Fatima Salau, called on well-meaning individuals to assist the women to achieve their goals in the country.
Majority of our members have been trained in various skill acquisition programs, while some were already in the farm as farmers.
We need to support our women in whatever they choose to be doing.
Association of Grassroots Women Dwellers of Nigeria is a non-governmental organization to help meet the yearnings of rural women dwellers in Nigeria, spread across the geopolitical zones in the country.
That does it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Maiduguri with Abubakar after this break. Stay with us.
For staying with us on Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority, and this is Maiduguri Network Center. Let's move on now. A capacity building workshop on social reintegration for journalists practicing in Borno State has been organized by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Information and Culture in collaboration with United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. The one-day training is part of the post-insurgency recovery process as normalcy gradually returns to the state. Milkat Amalam will now bring us more details of the story.
Funded
by European Union, the project tagged support for reconciliation and reintegration had in attendance journalists from various media organizations across Borno. The main objective is to orient the media personnel about social reintegration program. During their various presentations, communication specialists from UNICEF, Ampuch Panchanan Achari, and that of UNDP, Amalachuku Ibeneme, spoke extensively on the need for media participation in social reintegration while strictly adhering to the principles and guidelines of reportage on children as well as development reporting. Some of the principles and guidelines include do no harm, non-discrimination, among others. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Home Affairs, Information and Culture, Garba Musa, and representative of Commissioner for Women Affairs noted that the media has continued to play a significant role in social reintegration, hence the need for the training to equip the journalists with more skills to discharge their various responsibilities.
The media plays a very integral role. They give the public what the government gives them.
The event featured an interactive session of questions and answers where participants thanked UNICEF for initiating the program and promised to use the knowledge gained for the purpose intended. The program is expected to strengthen the capacity of journalists to enable them discharge their duties with ease. In Maiduguri, Milka Damalam, NTA News.
Away from that now to talk security. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Borno State Command, has paraded 8 suspects involved in vandalization of government and public properties with arrests made within Maiduguri, the state capital. The commandant, NSCDC Borno State, Musa Farouk Boyi, expressed commitment in complementing other security services to rid the state of criminal activities. Pauline Kujivana has more details.
The 8 suspects were paraded for vandalization of 84 aluminum windows belonging to Teachers Village IDP's camp, worth 2.9 million naira, as well as buried armored cables belonging to NITOL.
We stole and sold the items to treat our sick father, who later died. But we are caught by the residents of the area after removing the armor cable from the drainage, we are evacuated.
Suspect of iron bars for overhead tower took to their heels on sighting NSCDC officials, abandoning the stolen items and the tricycle, which the commandant Musa Farouk Boyi pledged to apprehend them and subsequently charged the suspect to court after investigation.
Those who have bought the stolen items are on the run. We are on the lookout for them, and as soon as we arrest them, all of them, both the principals and the thieves, will be prosecuted.
The NSCDC commandant pledged on relentless efforts to safeguard lives and property of the citizenry and call on them to be at watch out to reporting criminal activities in their domain for necessary action by the command. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories at this time from Maiduguri. I believe Ruth in Abuja is ready to continue from there. So, Ruth.
Thank you, Abubakar. Yes, indeed. Specialists in treating tropical diseases and development partners are meeting in Abuja to develop a new master plan for neglected tropical diseases in Nigeria 2020 to 2026. Convened by the Federal Ministry of Health, the workshop is to brainstorm and formulate a blueprint for eliminating neglected tropical diseases in Nigeria and other afflictions like snake bites, among others, in accordance with the roadmap of the World Health Organization.
We cannot be running an elimination agenda without having a blueprint that we'll be using to run that. The Federal Ministry of Health places very high currency to the development of these blueprints.
We have started achieving a lot. In some states, we have started elimination of these diseases. Some states, we have interrupt. And we're hopefully that with this new plan that is coming up, whereby we put it holistically with all the stakeholders, we'll be able to achieve, at least, if not the entire nation being eliminated with all these diseases, we'll be able to achieve at least 80% elimination.
During the engagement, a curtain was drawn on the neglected tropical diseases roadmap 2015 to 2022, and awards were presented to individuals and organizations for their outstanding work towards eliminating tropical diseases in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari rejoices with Professor Gudini Gabriel Dara on the conferment of Doctor of Letters on him by Michael and Cecilia Ibru University, Delta State, in recognition of his exceptional contribution to advancement of knowledge at home and abroad. Professor Dara has worked variously at the University of Ibadan, Obafemi Awolowo University, Northeastern University, Boston, Olabisi Onabanjo University, University of Africa, Toru Orua, and Delta State University, Abraka, and was also chairman editorial board of the Guardian newspapers. President Buhari joins family, friends, and professional associates, particularly in the academia, to celebrate with the folklorist, journalist, and administrator, and believes the recognitions and awards for the highly sought-after scholar are well-deserved, wishing him the best in future endeavors. That's nationwide. Thank you very much for your company. Remember, with your support, we can win the fight against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguele. Enjoy your evening.